What's up?
Hello.
How's it
Is
going?
my mic working? Are we good?
Yeah, you sound good. I
am
sound good. You look good. I look okay.
You look sexy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I got my Pepsi shirt on.
So how's your week been?
Real fast.
Yeah, it was real fast, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't even know what day it is right now. Oh, it's
I had
Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. I had
Oh.
the turnaround time with my other podcast, Breeder Syndicate, on Friday. So
Mhm.
like I went from this to like 2 days to get ready for that one, and then the weekend came, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I gotta get some shit done.
Oh yeah, I had to do Ghosts for the Invisible Night School a couple days ago, and that's
right.
like several hundred years worth of history. I had to go and take like brief cliff notes on and kind of tell the story of all that.
It's a little hard to cover it that fast.
Yeah, I think I got it.
I think you did okay. I went back and listened, so it was pretty good.
I forgot to do sleep paralysis and Hat Man though.
Oh, well, there's always time to do sleep paralysis. That's one I'd love to cover with you sometime.
Yeah,
I have so much experience with it, and it's one of those things that's very hard to explain, like a DMT trip or an acid trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all things I haven't experienced. So I've been trying to induce sleep paralysis for a long time, and it doesn't work. Yeah, I eat like junk food and lay on my back, lay on my side, try to like think of certain things. Or like,
I think you need a lot of trauma. I think that's a major part of it. Okay. You need some more trauma in your life.
Well, yeah, let's hang out in person. You can traumatize me a little bit, and then I can see the Hat Man.
And drug you, traumatize you, and God knows what else.
We got to cover all bases. All right, we each brought stuff today.
Yes.
Who wants to go first?
You can go ahead and go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I like it when you go first. Prime the pump.
Yeah. All right. So tonight I'm going to be telling you the strange story of the death of Jeffrey Lash.
Yes.
This happened, I want to say it was July 4th of July. I think it was back in 2014. Yeah. Jeffrey Lash, or his neighbors known him as Skinny Bob. Just named something.
Yeah.
He and his fiance and his fiance's personal assistant. His fiance's name is Catherine. They've been together for 17 years. And Dawn was her personal assistant. They were shopping in where is that town they lived in? It's in LA. It's Pacific Palisades area.
Okay.
You're familiar. You're from California.
Yeah.
So they're shopping. Now, Jeffrey Skinny Bob Lash had been dying for a very long time, and people close to him knew that this was because he had been poisoned by secret agents. You see, he was a secret agent as well, as far as they knew. He was part of multiple intelligence agencies on a very secret mission.
Yes.
So when Jeffrey collapsed in this parking lot, they knew exactly what to do. He refused to go to a hospital. You know, he was having respiratory problems. They had a doctor friend come and try and resuscitate him for, I think, a minute or two. And he passed away in his car. They drove him and parked right in front of his house, wrapped his body in ice and blankets, shut the SUV door. Now, see, all the cars they drove were all blacked out windows and had no license plates. Now, Catherine, his fiance, and Dawn, the personal assistant, after they deposited the body, because they were told that In the case of his death, they were supposed to leave his body and his people would come and take care of it in case his body fell into the wrong hands. So they parked the car, wrapped his body up, turned off their cell phones. Dawn, the personal assistant, was a mother of 2, but they didn't contact their families. They got in a car, left LA, and headed to Oregon.
Yeah.
Now, they were there for, I believe, 2 weeks before Dawn's mother reported her missing. Like, they didn't contact anybody.
Yeah.
Cops eventually ended up finding them living in a motel. Dawn sent a letter back to her family saying she was going to a healing place with strong people who can heal with her. Catherine, the fiance, ends up coming back. She gets spooked. She gets back to the house and sees the SUV and the body is still inside. His people didn't come and pick him up.
Weird.
So, yeah. So she contacts her attorney, who contacts the police, and they come and pick up the body. People haven't heard of this. They pick up the body and they go to search the house. Now, it was a 200 square foot condo that Catherine owned, his fiance.
Okay.
Once they got in, they realized there'd been a bunch of makeshift doors and passageways and new walls and stuff like that. Catherine, it turns out, had been living strictly in the bathroom, sleeping on a yoga mat. She had a desk over the toilet. And if she left that area in the house, not only was it for her own good to stay there, but her own safety, because Jeffrey was a secret agent after all.
Yeah, and they always try to kill secret agents.
Yeah, he would fine her if she left those areas.
Yeah.
This wasn't the only apartment that Jeffrey lived at. A couple months earlier, he crashed into 4 parked cars near another apartment in his name, also in LA, and he paid off all of the owners of those cars in cash so that they didn't call the cops or get insurance involved.
How is he making all this money?
Some people, he told, his father was a microbiologist who made some life-saving patent back in the day, made millions off it, and he inherited it.
Okay.
That is not true. So I'm sorry. They're searching Catherine's condo that he lived in.
Yeah.
They found here. I have a kind of a tally. They found between 12 and 1,300 guns, nearly 7 tons of ammo. The guns were worth an estimated $3 million. Thousands of CDs and DVDs, 100 Palm Pilots. This is 2014. $230,000 in cash. Stacks of Art of Seduction books, and other random stuff. Now, unlike a hoarder, this is all valuable things, especially those guns.
Palm Pilots too, like in 2014.
Pretty strange. They found, since he paid everything in cash, he would keep ledgers, and they're assuming that he has multiple other storage units in LA that still haven't been unopened because he bought far out leases on them. So they're kind of waiting to be found. Now, when authorities looking into this discovered that he had been telling lots of people that he was a secret agent. And not only that, but his closest people in his life, Catherine, the fiance, and his personal assistant. His personal assistant, he didn't let meet him for the first year that she worked for Catherine. But after that year, he brought her into the circle and revealed that he was, in fact, a alien-human hybrid on a mission to save the world. Yes. Not only that, but she claimed to her mother that she witnessed him shapeshift, anamorph, before him, reptilian skin, yellow eyes. And if you think about it, there was a local Italian restaurant near where they lived, and they would go there every day, and he would order for 7 years, and he would order the same thing, a raw filet mignon, which I don't know if you can get adrenochrome. Isn't that what it's called?
Adrenochrome, yeah.
Adrenochrome from raw steak. Maybe that speaks a little bit to his half reptilian nature.
It could be
raw steaks.
Yes.
So, as far as I can find, this all happened in 2014. I'm still under the impression, and no one seems to know, if Dawn ever came back, the personal assistant. She wrote that letter to her mother. She was a mother of 2, left her kids behind, never said boo to them because they were part of a mission. You know what I mean? So she took off to Oregon, has not come back. Catherine's come back, contacted her attorney. I think she's kind of snapping out of this. But no one knows why he was collecting all that money or guns, how he got any of that money, or really even who he was. He had no record of any employment or previous education. Oh no, I think he went to like Harvard or Berkeley for like a couple years, but never graduated, and that seems to be like really the only record of him. Furthermore, the pathologist found no cause of death after his autopsy, after he collapsed in that grocery store. But he had been telling his fiance and that personal assistant for months, if not years, that he was dying, and he was becoming like emaciated as he grew older. That's why his neighbors called him Skinny Bob.
Yeah.
No one knows the origin of this guy. That's the entire case I just laid out.
Are you kidding me? That's the end?
That's the end.
Oh, man, we need to dig. We need to figure this motherfucker out. On top of that, I want to get in his storage space because I bet there's some cool shit in there.
Oh, yeah. Or just like a ton more guns and ammo.
Yeah, I'm sure.
7 tons. Now, the police didn't think he was any kind of like arms dealer or like mafia guy or anything like that. There was like no indication of any of these things. He was stockpiling for his mission, I suppose.
So you said that he was not. His dad really didn't. That wasn't a true story about his father.
No, absolutely not. There's no patents under his father's name. I know, like his family is known.
So his family's known, so we know who he is?
Yeah, his name's Jeffrey Allen Lash. That's his real birth name. He was described as like kind of a weird dude. I mean, even the people that know him say that he would often like ask them really like weird or inappropriate questions, and he'd get the answer. He'd be like, "Okay, you passed the test."
Yeah.
All part of kind of that. We've seen this kind of behavior before in the UFO community, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen it from like I talked about with Dan Burish. He had a group of people that he would LARP with. He was a, pretty much a secret agent, intel doctor, saved the world by pushing an alien into a time warp bubble, But everybody around him was in danger, and he'd constantly tell them they're in danger.
Yeah, exactly.
The Ira Einhorn, the Dyson-Hasenkopf. There's so many different cases. The Moron Spermer. I mean, there's so many cases of this stuff.
Right. I mean, I think this guy really puts Moran to shame.
Oh yeah, I mean, this guy has millions and millions. It sounds like. I'm very interested if he was not a trust fund kid, how he was able to come up with this much money, dodge the IRS in 2014, and all that.
He allegedly, so remember that apartment he lived at where he crashed the 4 cars? He had a female roommate there. And then there was another woman named, what was her name? Michelle something or other. She referred to him as her boyfriend. I think they had known each other for about 30 years. She never took vacations or anything. She always wanted to be available to him. She would come to his house every day and drop off a green garbage bag on his front door and drive away. She also drove a black car with blacked out windows and no license plates. They also found more vehicles like that when they were going through all of his home and his garage and his storage units. So multiple cars and multiple associates. It seems like blonde women associates, probably that he catfished using those Art of Seducting Women books.
Yes. Way to go, bro.
He may have had like a slew of these people that he had catfished and was just taking money from. Like
smashing all through town, just going.
Well, he was fining his fiance for leaving her bathroom crawl space that he graciously gave to her.
Now you're saying he's not finding her; he's fining her.
Fining her, yeah, money, like penalties for leaving, because it was for her own safety.
Duly noted. I'm going to talk to my lady about this and start instituting some fines, what have you.
I mean, this dude seems pretty successful. I think he's got his head on straight.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, he's got more money than most people.
More than me.
Yeah, way more than me.
But that was my mysterious story of the day.
That's a really fascinating one. It's actually really interesting. That's one of those ones where I hear about it now. I just want to go Google and start diving in immediately, but we're in the middle of this. That's fascinating.
You should afterwards. I don't know that there's been many develops on this in the past like 7 years or so. Mm-hmm. But where's that, 9 years now? I don't know. I can't keep track of time or do math. But
maths.
Like even an update from Dawn, the personal assistant, would be really interesting. Being that he had a family, 2 kids, a mom who reported her missing pretty quickly, and she just sent a letter back. It's like, oh no, I'm going to a healing place with stronger people who can heal me.
Do we know she's alive for sure?
They found her after the fact.
Okay,
like I said, in Oregon, like about 2 weeks after Lash died.
Okay.
So, yeah, she was alive. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think anyone knows really what happened to her. I don't know if the family is posted. Maybe they are in contact again. But at the time the police found her, she did say she didn't want to go back or call them or anything, and sent a letter back.
Damn. These cult situations are just fucking insane, dude. How quickly they twist people. I mean, the art of turning people away from their families, everyone. You know, like the Scientology. What do they call them? Not oppressive personalities or something? Suppressive personalities?
I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's suppressive person. A suppressive person is someone who, you know, it hinders your progress in life.
Well, you say that and it makes sense to me. So that's probably
suppressive person. I love that. Like,
yeah.
If you're gonna have a cult, you need to have some. Elizondo needs to take some notes right here. Suppressive person, the next one for you, Lou.
Start stocking up on Palm Pilots.
Yeah, Palm Pilots. He's probably got the others. I think he's got plenty of those. So
speaking of unsolved mysteries, I want to plug something really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
October 18th, Unsolved Mysteries is coming back on Netflix. They just released the episode titles, and I think episode 2, it's called Something in the Sky. I recommend that everybody watch that.
Ooh.
But no one should ever make fun of me.
That's a good caveat. You're not allowed to make fun of Nick if you watch it.
I agree.
Yeah. And you do not make fun of him. This boy tries. He tries hard.
No, and I'm really cool. So
yeah, you're really cool. People like you. Your mom likes you.
She does.
Yeah. See?
But anyway, I don't want to take away from what I think is up on deck from you.
Yes.
My one of my favorite photographers, actually.
Yeah, he's one of the best. One of the absolute best of all time photographers on Earth. One of the most famous photographers there is in ufology. Like, his pictures have inspired people like Billy Meyer. I'm sorry, people like Bob Lazar. Billy Meyer has inspired people like Bob Lazar for his sport model. Like, and of course, George Adamski inspired Billy Meyer and what have you. But today I wanted to talk Billy Meyer.
Okay. Hit me when you want me to show those slides.
Okay, 1 second. So I'm going to pull up the quick bio on him. So he was born Edward Albert Meyer, February 3rd, 1937. So he's still around. He's still alive. He lives in Hinterschmidt-Rudi, Switzerland.
Sounds like you pronounced that right.
I did, yeah. I know, because I almost flew there. I almost flew there and joined his cult. I was very, very convinced that these pictures were real when I was a young man.
They're legit. Fox Mulder had him on his wall for the first, I think, 2 seasons of
X-Files. Yeah, the first 2 seasons. That was the original picture. Was the Billy Meyer photographs?
The beam ships. Yeah, but I think he sued them, didn't he?
Oh, you may have. You may very well have. They're a very litigious group. Yeah. So they're called the FIGU, and the actual name in English, let me see here. The actual name in English is the Free Community of Interest for Border and Spiritual Sciences and Ufological Studies. So as a young man, Edward Albert Meyer claimed to have had a very, he was a traveling type person. He went to like these monasteries and learned from monks, apparently, or different kinds of spiritual groups. Over the years, at one point, he was in the French Foreign Legion, apparently, at some point. He left Switzerland, joined the French Foreign Legion. At one point, he was driving in a bus and had his arm out the window, just chilling, and knocked his arm off. So he became a one-armed man.
Wow.
And one of the biggest points of all of the story is, how could a one-armed man hoax photographs?
You're right. How could he?
How could he? Because how could he hold it and camera? It's really complex.
Sounds impossible, actually.
So if you want to load up the pictures, we can start going through a little bit about Billy Meyer.
Let's hit it.
Okay. Let's see which one pops up. Any of them popping up?
There's one. There's him.
Okay, so this is him by the rock, right?
Yeah, with a cool sweater on.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. So here is Billy Meyer, circa, I want to say 2004 or 1994, somewhere in that decade. And as you can see, you see one of his hands. You can't quite see the other. The sweater's hanging down. But he made contact with a group of extraterrestrials called at first they were referring to them as the Pleiadians.
Right.
Much later on, after other people started talking about their interactions with Pleiadians, they said, aha, actually it's not Pleiadians, and only fools would know that, or fools wouldn't know that because they are the Pleiarans. They are not Pleiadians. That was meant to fool people who are con artists.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
So he had these different encounters. Some were with older men. I can't remember their names off the top of my head. It's been a long time. But he would fly up. They would take him in his ship for these rides. He'd come back down. You know, he had these people that were local to him constantly saying like, "Oh, we saw him go up. We saw," or he'd go away and then he'd come back, 4 hours later, and then he'd tell them about their trip. They were about his trip and whatnot.
Right.
And he had these beautiful photographs that he would supply and that he would take over the years, and it was very convincing. This is a drawing of one of his alien beings that he would encounter. I don't remember. I think it's Semyaze is the name. They tended to be more Aryan, as it were. I mean, not necessarily. Some of them had brown hair, but I mean, typically white, European, Nordic-looking, very pretty.
That's pretty common with a lot of the contactees, right? Like George Adamski saw Aryan aliens essentially too, right?
Yeah, they're very friendly, very pretty, attractive, like this.
Oh, she looks more like a brunette to me.
Yeah, she's a brunette. Semyaze was a brunette. And then here we have one of the pictures. This isn't the best, but this is an idea.
It's legit. I mean, Think Tank would post that.
Yeah, Think Tank would totally post this. And here we have a beam ship, which is the top one, and a reconnaissance ship during a flight demonstration at sunset. So as a 14, 15-year-old boy, I was looking at this and I couldn't even imagine how a one-armed farmer in Switzerland could possibly take this. I mean, that's not model. It couldn't be models. How is he hanging them? How is he
kind of like inductive reasoning that lets people believe that like humans couldn't have built the pyramids or things like that too. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of, like, here we have two beam ships, and photographed from the window of a third. So this is supposedly taken when Billy was inside one of the beam ships, looking out the window, flying in the air, and taking pictures of the other crafts. As you can see, there's a little antenna on that shadowed one. Really nice. Guess they still use FM radio. But yeah, so like there were pictures like this that to me at that time, for a very malleable brain, I was thinking that how could he pull this off? It just didn't make any sense to me. They were so clear. Now here is the Figu Center that they used to call the Semyaze Silver Star Center. This is where the cult lives.
Yeah,
here is Mr. Meyer in 1977 with a borrowed laser pistol from Minara, which was another one of the Pleiarans.
I think that they use like Earth standard safety, like they put the orange tip on there so the cops don't shoot them accidentally, right?
Yeah, exactly. And later on, I do believe, if I remember correctly, they found this exact toy. They found the exact model that he used in this.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the hole that he shot the laser. As you can see, there's a hole straight through that tree. And he said that laser is what did it.
I mean, it's a perfect circle. What else could do that besides a laser? We don't have that kind of technology here on Earth.
I'm not even sure humans could do that today, bro.
I mean, that is pretty cool. I think that's cool.
It was pretty cool. And here he's talking about some assassination attempts. So the man has had countless now. I don't know what the number is now, but I remember back in the day it was like 20. Many more assassination attempts have happened on this man. And
he's spreading the truth.
He's spreading the truth, and people want to kill people who spread the truth. He's been saved by like books that catch the bullet, different things.
Classic, yeah.
But I mean, he worked for the French Foreign Legion. He might have been an assassin at one point. So he's a very talented man for a one-armed farmer. So he can protect himself.
Absolutely. Oh, man, look at those pictures, though.
I mean, look at they're beautiful. I wish I still had it. I had a beautiful coffee table book back in the day that was put out by Wendell Stevens and a few other people. I can't remember who the other people. Jim and Coral Lorenzen, I think.
Right. Oh, from APRO?
APRO. They were heavily involved in this case. But I did still have, and this is what I don't actually. I'll show that in a second. But this one is one of the most talked about photos, and the theory on this photo is that somehow they attached the little tiny model to a little tiny tree. Later on, they were able to show this exact tree, supposedly, and show that it was a real tree, full size. It's not a model. So some other kind of tricks were done here, but it is true that they always like Michael Horn is the U.S. representative for Billy Meyer. So most people that research Billy Meyer that are American will have to go look at interviews with Michael Horn because a lot of the stuff is in Swedish or Swiss or Dutch, whatever.
Yeah.
And his constant note again is that he's a one-armed farmer. How could he pull this off? And he has a metallurgist, a man named Marcel Vogel that he constantly references that said that, metal was tested and proven to be from out of this world. That's two of the main ones. The third one is that no one has been able to repeat or debunk any of these photos. And I will skip forward just a little bit here to right here.
Yeah.
So this was one of the ones that sold me the most as a young kid. Oddly enough, I didn't understand perspective in pictures at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Very clearly. And you see this obvious, like a VW van. None of this looks fake, but this looks so big hovering above it. The perspective is everything. And here's another picture. It's behind the car. It looks like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can't tell that the car isn't a Hot Wheels.
Right. Yeah. Is this one of his, or is this a recreation here?
This one is his. This is his. Yeah, 7-meter ship next to Main Street in the direction of Rottenham, hovering behind an automobile, a Mercedes with a tree branch above in the center of the picture. 1981. And this is another picture from that same event. Yeah. And here's the most famous, I think, one of the most famous of the beam ship. And this is also called the wedding cake ship because it kind of looks like a wedding cake.
Now, there's like a little fin on the edge there, right? Weren't people able to like locate some of the pieces of this?
I believe so. Yeah, people are pretty convinced they've been able to replicate this, and this exact model was found in Edward Albert Meyer's house. However, he said it was made to show something else later on that it couldn't be done right. Something stupid.
That's really interesting. That sounds kind of like the Gulf Breeze incident.
Yes. Yeah. Very similar.
That he sold his house, and then the person who bought it afterwards found in a crawl space kind of a paper model of the UFOs that
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And later on, Billy's wife, Poppy Meyer, I want to say her name is. They ended up divorcing. This is probably about 20 years ago, less than 20 years ago. And she ended up coming out saying, yes, my ex-husband's a hoaxer. But of course, because they are not happy with each other, the cult obviously says she's poisoned and trying to poison everyone against them. He has a son named Methuselah Meyer that's been a part of this and is still a part of it as far as I know. And Michael Horn still makes regular appearances, and you can often find him in YouTube chats trolling people, declaring that Meyer is the way. They have a DVD that came out a while ago, and this is great. It was called The Silent Revolution of Truth. And now the story behind the title was that Michael Horn did a contest for the children of the Plejarians and let them name the documentary, and they came up with The Silent Revolution of Truth. So that's actually a Plejarian title made by Plejarian children.
How old are these Plejarian children?
God knows. I mean, they can live to be thousands of years, so I guess it's all subjective.
You're right. I don't know. I thought that was a really snappy title for some kids.
It's not bad. Not bad.
I'm into it. Sounds cool.
And these are some more. These are multiple. These are some of the ones from the 70s that are pretty good. I mean, like looking at these at first glance, they're actually pretty decent for the time.
I agree.
And for the, for the time, these are amazingly clear.
The ones with like the Hot Wheels in them and stuff.
Yes, much better. And see, a lot of times, a lot of the photos you'll see, there's always like a tree parked next to one of these things. And the theory was that it helps support it as they take the photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and then you see there's at the bottom photo right here, there's another one right next to it. Mm-hmm. Another tree that they identify and show pictures of saying, see, it's a big tree.
Right.
Yeah. And if you look at the top here, we have one of Semyaze's newest beam ships. I guess they have a production line of some sort and dealerships.
Right.
Putting out new models all the time. So that's kind of cool.
Probably the same as on Earth. That makes sense. They're probably capitalists, right?
Yeah. So This is the book that all these pictures came from. It's one of the few that I still have left by Guido Moosberger, who is a member of FIGU, of course.
Is this like a play on Galileo, and yet it still turns, or something like that?
I think Galileo actually would probably be proud of them for this one, right?
Well, yeah.
But yeah, that's this cult still runs to this day.
Really?
And they are still, like I said, Michael Horn's still representing them, still doing podcasts, still trying to convert people. What the best part about it is that when people go to FIGU to like learn from Billy Meyer, the stories that I've heard over the years are that people go out there and he puts them to fucking work on the farm like a horse, and like won't talk to him for a month, 2 months, just makes them work the whole time they're there. They work his farm like a slave. So I think that's pretty epic. Like if you're gonna do it and run a cult, at least make everyone work for you like slaves. So
man, if I'm joining a cult, it's to get away from work. So fuck that. I'm not going.
Yeah, right. That's the whole point.
Right.
Wants to work.
Well, is he stocking up on guns and Palm Pilots though in that cabin?
You know, I don't know if any legal action has ever been taken to go in and check what's going on at their facilities. I mean, Switzerland's pretty hands off, pretty neutral, as you know.
Oh yeah.
And they're very far in the far back. Hinter Schmidrudi means behind Schmidrudi. So Schmidrudi's the town, and Hinter means it's way out past the town and behind it.
See, Alex Jones hasn't tried to storm it?
Apparently not. I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't joined it, to be honest with you. Aryans,
work.
white aliens.
Absolutely freeloading lazy.
Freeloading lazy white aliens.
He's got the body for it. I've seen it.
He's a ninja. I've seen him do karate.
Oh yeah, man.
So yeah, that's the story on Edward Albert Meyer. That's the quick rundown, a very quick story on it. There's a lot more to it. I spent years deep diving it, trying to prove it, then disprove it to myself. The final straw, and I wish I didn't even think to grab pictures of it. There was a famous picture of one of the Pleiarans. It was either Asket or Semyaze. There's two women that he constantly refers to.
Oh,
and you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was from like
Dean Martin.
Oh, was it Dean Martin? I thought it was Eurovision or something. But
it was a Dean Martin show. And there was a really beautiful Swiss-looking girl on there, and they took a picture of the TV screen, and it had been in his books forever, published. And then finally, in I think the 2000s, someone figured it out. Just someone happened to have seen that episode, saw her face, remembered, screenshot it, and finally it was solved where that picture came from.
Hold on.
My favorite part about it is that he said that someone went back in time and inserted those pictures to fool people, to show that he, there it is right there.
Yeah.
There it is. There we go. There's the alien photo on the left and the Dean Martin ding-a-ling on the right.
Yeah.
They have photos that are like literally identical side by side too. It's pretty damning. There were some other photos that he claimed to have taken when he went back in time on a beam ship of dinosaurs as well.
Oh.
And there was a lot of heavy biblical religious, like he claims that he wrote a book, or I don't remember if he wrote it or had it. It was called the Talmud of Emmanuel. Supposedly Jemanuel is how it's spelled, was Jesus. That's his real name, was Emmanuel.
Right.
And then he has this theory about Judas Iscariot, that his name was really Judah Ihariot. Like he has this whole. It is a very, very in-depth Lord of the Rings style universe of stories. There's Randolph Winters in the 90s read something called the Contact Notes, which are Billy Meyer's notes. And there's the picture he took from the Bean ship. There it is.
Right. Yeah, he traveled back in time to do that.
Yeah, there's a brontosaurus, as you saw, a pterodactyl. He took it out of the Beam ship.
Lucky dude, I'd give my arm for that.
Yeah, they did find the book that those came out of, unfortunately. So it wasn't real, but they were planted, so it's okay. It didn't ruin the story. They were planted.
Okay, cool. As long as there's like contingency there, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy's fucking dope.
Yeah, dude. But the religious aspect, he's very anti-homosexual. That was a big part of the Pleiarans. They do not like the gays.
Never mind.
They do not like the gays.
He's an asshole.
It's a bit much.
Now, is there a reasoning for that, or is it because they're kind of like Old Testament-y, or what?
Yeah, I think it's the Old Testament-y, plus a lot of his writings, they come off very bigoted. The Plejarians.
Oh, I think didn't the alien Adamsi have like Air Force swastikas on where he left footprints with swastikas?
Yes, yeah.
What's with this, man? All these aliens, they're blonde-haired, blue-eyed racists. Why?
And I don't know. And Adamski was working very close with actual intel at the time. Like they were investigating him, and it was almost maybe like I couldn't tell if it was more like a Benowitz situation, where they were trying to see what he was getting into and who was feeding him info, as opposed to investigating his info, or like the Bledsoes of today, where they talk about, Intel's always working with us. They're interested in us. Of course they are. You're fucking cold.
I don't know much about them. I catch the younger ones' tweets, his little platitude Hallmark line tweets, and that's about it. But I know you also mentioned Paul Benowitz. I don't know if everyone watching knows who Paul Benowitz is.
Oh, yeah. So Paul Benowitz was a man from, where was he from? New Mexico, where he lived?
Yeah, I think it was New Mexico.
He lived right by Dulce Base.
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Or no, it was...
Or was it a different base? So wait, Dulce Base, is that even real?
No. I'm an idiot. Yeah. No, he lived by a different base, and he saw a bunch of activity on that base.
Sure.
And he contacted the Air Force. He was already very intelligent and working with the government in different ways on different projects, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And he contacted them to let them know what was going on. Now, he had already kind of spiraled into his own, I don't want to say paranoia and psychosis, but it was very similar. I mean, he was doing hypnotic regressions in the back of cars with people before he even ran into Doty.
Now, what year was this, though? Was it 80s, 90s?
I off the top of my head, I want to say it's late or mid 80s or early 80s, because Bill Moore did his thing in 85, right? Exposing it all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, I mean, like throughout the 80s and 90s, you couldn't walk around the corner without getting like hypnotically regressed.
Exactly.
It was big back then. It was real cool.
And watching the old Sightings episodes, it's constant. It's very constant. It's constantly almost all those old Sightings episodes, you'll see Jacobs or Bud Hopkins commenting on every single case, and they're always inserting stuff about hypnotic regression as if it's fact.
That stuff's really freaky too, and especially if you watch those like the sightings that we're thinking of. That dude's like legit screaming, like he's scared.
Yes,
people wake up from that really believing those memories that were kind of crafted on that couch, and that's really freaky. I mean, the hypnotic regression was responsible for the whole satanic panic in the 80s. What do you got there? What is that?
Buffco. Or no, I'm sorry, this is a Cardo.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yes.
But anyway, so Benowitz. I'm sorry. Benowitz was he was a little more paranoid than you or I.
He was very deep in, and he was doing
investigations. He's a UFO dude, right?
He was a UFO dude. He was very technical too. Very good with computers for the era, like the beginning of computers. He was heavily involved in that.
Yeah.
And he reported this stuff to the Air Force, and they, in turn, put the Air Force Office of Special Investigations on it. And in that office was a man named Richard Doty.
Yeah.
And you'll see this individual pop up still today.
I believe there's a recent doc with him in it.
Yeah. He's a very polarizing figure because a lot of people attribute Paul Benowitz's eventual suicide to prodding that Doty and the AFOSI did. They would go into his house, move things around, tell him that aliens were real.
Did Benowitz commit suicide?
I think that's what it was, right?
I don't know exactly.
Let me see.
Maybe. You might be confusing him with
it might be.
McDonald.
Let's see. Paul Benowitz's death. It's been a while on that.
Yeah, I don't want to spread any rumors.
But... Yeah, I'm really good at that too. Yeah, I don't know how he died. I know he ended up going into a mental institution for a while, though.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys didn't, or this guy didn't really help his paranoia.
No. God, he looks like a turtle.
Yeah, this is the dork we're talking about, Richard Doty, who is seems to be making a comeback now, and people are listening to him, despite most people, at least in the UFO community, being full aware of the history surrounding this dude.
Yeah, post or pre 2017, most people thought he was a terrible prick. And in 1985, a man named Bill Moore, who was at the time a very respected ufologist,
Yeah.
he wrote one of the best books on Roswell at the time, came out and said, you know what, I've been working with, and I believe he was working with Doty as well. He'd been working with intelligence, collecting intel on the UFO community, and he was doing it in hopes of getting the truth because they told him he knows some shit, you know, and he wanted the truth, the overall truth for himself, and he thought that that was going to be the way that he could do it and get to it. And in 1985, go ahead.
Eventually, if he kind of helped spread this other information,
yes,
right?
Yes. If he helped spread some disinformation, he at least himself was going to be able to free the information. At least that's what he relayed later. And I don't really have a lot of reason to doubt it. He was a passionate man. He was about digging.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he got too deep and started smelling his own shit, as it were, because they were telling him, you know shit. You've got it. This is why we're coming to you. And he believed it.
They were real big on the nuts and bolts kind of reverse engineered stuff, like
crash retrievals. Everything.
Yeah, Doty was feeding information through Bill Moore to APRO, who we mentioned earlier, about the Cash Landing case being a U.S. government experimental flight, I think.
Yes, yeah. And Linda Moulton Howe was also majorly influenced by Doty.
Mm-hmm. Was this back in the cattle mutilation times, or is this after that?
This is exactly during the cattle mutilation times. That's when he started messing with her. Yeah, and Bill Moore in 1985 came out during a MUFON conference and basically said, "What's up, bitches? This is what I've been doing. That's the motherfucker. You know, like he's here."
Respect for doing that, for coming clean at the end. That's cool.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect. Despite what was done with the disinformation, misinformation, etc., in the end, for a man to come forward in front of everyone, not just kind of like slink away, he did it in front of everyone and told the whole story. And then he walked. He walked from ufology.
I probably would at that point. I feel like doing that every other week anyway. I don't think getting psyops. So
yeah.
That was I've seen that video, and it's a pretty it sounds like a pretty tough crowd.
Yeah,
I imagine like a similar response if anybody were to get up and say similar things now in front of like UFO Twitter, for instance.
Yeah, I don't know how that would go.
I'd love to see it though.
I would love to see
that
it.
Makes me wonder if things like that are going on now.
I would think so. Like a lot of people do compare. One of the first questions I ever got in on UCR. Ever got in, and you can go back and watch this episode. I can't remember which one it is, but it's about a year and a half ago, is Lou Elizondo the modern Doty?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, did that piss everyone off, just asking the question.
Really?
I know Luis Jimenez on UCR didn't agree with me. I don't think even Squid Tech agreed with me during that time. They were still very, pro Elizondo and wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. But just because they asked that question, they got shit on as if they were just gutting him, It was wild.
Is that backstabbing I hear about all the time?
Yeah, that horrible backstabbing. Yeah.
So people are still talking about it, and UCR's been off for a few weeks now, right?
Yeah. Pretty
strange. There's some pretty passionate people in the UFO community.
I was one of them, and I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I had a nickname for Seth Shawstack. Like, just because he was skeptic, I would call him Seth Shitstack. Like,
oh yeah,
like mean shit.
What did Stanton Friedman used to call SETI? It was the cult of SETI, or a silly excuse to.
I don't know.
You get stupid names for everything. Nasty, noisy, negativist.
Nasty, noisy, negativist.
That guy was kind of a nerd too, but R.I.P.
What's funny is that video of Bill Moore was missing for quite some time. The 1985 MUFON thing. So for a long time, a lot of us were looking for it, trying to find it, asking around for it. And I had been going through all of my DVD collection and VHS collection, digitizing all of them and uploading them slowly to a place where I could access them if I need to.
Yeah.
And I gave some friends links to these to go through them. And then one day, I think it was Steve Long who found it. And he's like, "Hey, bro, You know, you got the Bill Moore thing right here, and it was in the collection that I had uploaded in the middle. Like it started in the middle of one of the DVDs.
The
So it
quality
is available to be
on
seen.
that, but that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I think I'll try in here, right?
I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. Though
Yeah.
I may not be able to because it is MUFON owned, and there's a reason. Never mind, I won't be able to. I apologize, but it does exist still, and it can be seen. There's an old DVD set called Rebel Researchers, UFO Rebel Researchers, and it's part of that.
Yeah, MUFON's a little tight with all their shit, right?
Yeah, the symposiums, they don't let people share, and some of the best info that ever came out of MUFON, period, in my opinion, was their symposiums that they would do each year, and it was the best presentations from the best researchers. And I have all of them. I can't distribute them. People can't see them because MUFON blocks it.
Yeah. They also don't share any of the evidence they collect, right? I actually even don't give it back to the witnesses that provide it. Is my impression that I've gotten. So, I have personal experience with that with the case I'm researching. With the, I think, 10 videos and a dozen photographs that they've been sitting on for about 30 years.
Yeah. I was an active member of MUFON until last year. Paying member of MUFON. Some ridiculous amount per year to get those things. And
did you have like a cool membership card and a lanyard?
Yeah, dude. I got the lanyard, I got the hat. I got it all, man.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then Harzan did what he did, and I was like, well, I am never gonna wear any MUFON anything ever again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're scum. Brings me to a question I ask all the time about MUFON is what are they doing? What is their purpose? I mean, they ram themselves into any local interest piece on UFOs, any local sighting, any news piece, any newspaper article, any magazine and stuff. They will force themselves in. And I mean, like I wouldn't call them a household name because like most people don't think of MUFON. But almost
it's pretty close. Yeah,
pretty for a UFO group, I'd say that they are pretty close. Name dropped in X-Files for several seasons.
Exactly, and they have TV shows. They had the MUFON TV shows. They're constantly having their investigators on.
Hangar something, Hangar something. That was
there was that one. There was the one where they interviewed Bledsoe. There were 3 different cases, and Chris Bledsoe's one of the cases that they interviewed. It was all about the MUFON start team during BASS that would go out or rapid deployment team or whatever it was called.
Mm-hmm.
But it was during BASS, and they did 3 episodes on Discovery. And one of the episodes is the Bledsoe one.
I gotta find that.
I have it, and we should review it. Is what we should do.
Absolutely.
For like when we start doing the Patreon stuff, maybe do the smoking review.
Yeah, have we discussed the future of possibly a Patreon and possible bonus content that we have ideas for already?
No, we haven't. We haven't publicly.
Let's do it. Let's talk about it, just so people can kind of like get an impression of whether or not that's worthwhile to them before we roll it out. Because I don't know how to do any of that shit. I think
So we're thinking about doing a cheap Patreon just to have a Discord and a place where we can all hang out and talk. We have a lot of stuff to share, but one of the things we were talking about doing, like a long time ago, we were talking about like a stoned ancient aliens type thing, like because the people that have done it aren't very funny, frankly, and most of them don't know shit about ufology, so it's just them being stoned and saying stupid shit.
Yeah.
However,
I still intend to do that.
Yeah, Ancient Aliens is cool and all, but there's a lot of other cool shit that we could do it with, and a lot of like Unidentified would be great. Like a lot of other shows I would love to give my commentary track on and hear Nick's take on too, because
I haven't seen any of that crap too.
Exactly.
Like Unidentified, Skinwalker. There's like a billion ghost shows I would do that with.
Yeah.
Adventures, especially like early seasons.
Oh yeah, the first one where he's still like a dork, like a little Christian dork guy. That's the best.
Old sightings. Several specials.
Tabs.
I really want to do UFO cover up live. I think doing a commentary track for that would be just awesome. Kind of a in riff track style. So
I think that's a good one to kick it off with.
But yeah, that's kind of our idea. So I wanted to put that out there.
Yep. And in our Discord, I'd like to be doing weekly showings of some old UFO documentaries, rare ones from my collection, from different collections over the years.
That stuff that MUFON doesn't want you to see.
All that shit.
The truth they don't want you to know.
That alien truth.
Mm-hmm. Now, you were going to talk about the Polaroid Ghost Rider originally.
Yeah. So my original plan before I ended up in a doctor's office all day today with my lady was to do the Polaroid Ghost Riders.
Mhm.
And that is an old case. I don't think I have the book next to me, but it's an old case where a group of people were taking pictures in their house whenever they felt the presence.
Mhm.
And when they did, a cloud would appear or writing would appear on the Polaroid.
Yeah,
Now they had Polaroid come investigate it, and they could tell that there was no interference physically with the Polaroids.
I don't know about that, but
that's what Polaroid said
Mhm.
when they investigated it. And they were, Polaroid sent with the sightings crew a bunch of sealed, numbered, specialized Polaroid things that were sealed, and supposedly they opened them up on camera, did everything. There is some stuff I'd like to go over because I think I saw some sleight of hand in one, which is really interesting. I think Sighting caught it and didn't say shit about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up being so interested in the case, and there's no resolution to this case, that I bought the book on it, and a recent book came out, and it's pretty fascinating, and it's still unresolved.
Now, I remember seeing that not only on Sightings. I think there was a couple other like one-off ghost shows that I saw that on too. And since middle school, I've been screaming at my TV because I feel like I can replicate this.
Yes.
And I kind of like, maybe if you want to save this case, maybe not next week, but maybe the week after that, just because I want to go out and I want to find a Polaroid and some film, and I want to see if I can do it. Maybe I'll make a pre-produced video that we can just show on here. Or maybe I'll do it live. Maybe I should do it live. I think that'd be more impressive. I don't know about my sleight of hand skills, but in middle school, I would lose my student ID all the time that were taken with little Polaroids, and they were laminated. Now, this is back in the 90s. So every time I'd get a fresh one that was still warm, I'd take the tip of a mechanical pencil and press down on my eyes. It would make them go. It would make them go all white, and it looked just like that ghost writing, those clouds and the writing on those Polaroids. So I know that you can do that. I'll have to watch some of the episodes again to see how they're handling the film before and after. So I know
it was sealed.
Oh, it was okay.
They have it on video being sealed, opened, and inserted.
Okay.
And pictures taken, and immediately it coming out.
Who's handling the picture after it comes out?
See, that's the thing. Like they're not super descriptive, and they're not super good about catching on camera who is who, describing who is who's handling what. Some of them, like they're saying, yes, this is a consistent shot, but they cut the shot, and it's like not even time lapse, it's time jump. So it's like, in Sightings, when they wanted to reproduce the case, they used like cotton balls on glass, and it was like this really wild way to show that it could be done without manipulating the film at all. But you'd have to take the picture with someone holding this transparent piece of glass and cotton.
Sure.
It was just ridiculous, not like something no one would ever do, and there's much simpler ways to do it, I think.
That reminds me of Ben Hansen's old show on Sci-Fi, Fact or Fake.
Oh God, yeah.
The Cemetery Phantom episode where someone's ghost hunters are filming in night vision in a cemetery of ghosts because ghosts hang out, and they walk past a spider in its web, like real close to the camera. And it was described as this like phantom vortex, and they're like driving dirt buggy or dune buggies trying to stir up whirlwinds like dust devils and stuff like that, and like trying to run a train through there with like big lights on it and stuff. So it's clearly a spider. They're going out of their way to duplicate like a glowing sphere. They could have just like paused the video and looked at it. It was really embarrassing.
That's wild.
But yeah,
I love these shows, man.
I know. I love it too. But I mean, that kind of speaks to like these people want everything to be ambiguous because you're still wondering what if, and you still watch the next episode. You know what I mean? You don't want to like show your hand like the ghost hunters did on those Halloween live specials.
Oh my God. There's no one else here but us. Oh, except for that dude in the fucking sweater. Whoops. Yeah.
My favorite one was that like Grant Wilson, was that his name? He had that string on his collar and down. He was like, yeah. He was like walking around with one dead arm, clearly yanking on it.
Yeah.
That's what that started me down the skeptic road. Was that Halloween? I was really bummed out about those guys. We talked about that last time.
Yeah, it's funny because that exact same episode is the one that made me just stop believing in, like, just stop and reassess everything. Why do I think ghosts are spirits of dead people? What evidence even is there for that? Because I had gotten EVPs, so I knew that disembodied voices, they exist. I don't know what they are. They could be radio wave, any number of things it could be. But I didn't have any reason to think that it was dead spirits. Yet that's the conclusion that we all come to.
What do you got there? Spirit?
What's that? Oh yeah, spirit just creeped in through the door.
No, I know that is that you're still making, even if you have like the best case scenario in an EVP is a disembodied voice. You can't tie it. You can't say like, I know what made that voice without making an argument from ignorance. So I know. Yeah. And ghost hunters, man, it's doing.
Have you ever caught EVPs?
Yeah, I had one when I was investigating the Ada Witch, the local kind of ghost story where there's this old cemetery. I think I talked about this. I don't know what it was. There's an old cemetery in a dirt road, and you're supposed to walk down it in the middle of the night, and she'll like appear to you. She'll either be normal or like really grizzled.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I walked down it in the like pitch black, and I had my EVP recorder, and I was asking the normal questions to the air, like, "Are you here with me? Make your presence known. Like, do you know your dad?" Things like that. And I got a voice going, "Yes," like that after one of my questions.
Yeah.
I was just so fucking excited. But like, how many times did I sniffle that night? How many times did I breathe heavily? Did I sneeze? I don't know. I'm not remembering any of that crap. Like how many white trucks did I see today? I don't know. I wasn't consciously keeping track. And that's kind of my problem with EVPs is like, who is honestly keeping conscious track of all of the sounds? Not to mention microphones are really funny about that kind of stuff. Anything close to it. Like,
yes.
My old partner on the Bent Spoon, he was, they were in a ghost hunting group for a while too. They had a EVP that they thought was just perfect. They thought it was a voice saying Del Rio, but they ended up timing it up with one of their cameras, and they found out it was someone zipping up a duffel bag and went Del Rio. But they were touting it around for a really long time as like Class A EVP. That was how they did them, right, in the classes.
Yeah.
Class A EVP.
Oh yeah, Class A. Yep. Class A EVP. Yeah, I sent one into Richard Dolan, Sci-Fi Investigates. It was his partner. I can't remember the guy's name. He had white hair, but it was the paranormal research. I sent my special EVP into him, and he confirmed that was some weird fucking shit. So I knew my shit was real at that point. It was legit.
Richard Dolan had a sci-fi show?
Oh yeah, that was his big start. Young Richard Dolan.
Really?
Young Dickie Garbutt. Young Dickie Dolan on Sci-Fi Investigates.
I have no idea what the show is. That sounds awesome.
Rob Mariano from Survivor was on it.
That's legit.
For no reason at all.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. They went after Bigfoot. They went after Bigfoot. They were squatching.
Were they hitting trees with sticks and stuff?
I don't recall. It's been so long since I've seen it. It's really hard to find episodes of Sci-Fi Investigates.
That's too bad. I was having a hard time finding that clip of Fact or Fake when Ben Hansen popped up with that UFO video of his.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I really wanted to share that.
It might be on Discovery Plus or something. I'll look.
Too many streaming channels.
Yeah.
Do you have Discovery Plus? Are you like a fan or something? Okay, or is that
what I watched 90 Day Fiance on on that on Discovery Plus.
That show's a real nightmare from the clips I've seen.
It's amazing. It's the absolute dregs of humanity. It's something about just people being foul and manipulating, being disgusting to each other on camera. It's just really enthralling to America in general, and including me. Like, just, I can't believe she just did that and said that. And of course, a lot of it's scripted, like.
Sure. So what you're saying is you don't believe in love at first sight.
Don't get me killed.
All right, man. Nice. Well, we're rounding out an hour now. I guess we can call that good, and I can go take a smoke break.
Yeah.
What are we looking at next week?
I'm not sure. There's a few things I want to look at. Maybe not the ghostwriting one. I was thinking about doing Antonio Villas-Boas just because, and maybe a few other sexual UFO encounters because those fascinate me.
Absolutely. We got some good clips for that, right?
Yeah. When humans are smashing on the alien poon or vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. What should I bring? Should I bring some ghosts, some UFO stuff? What do you think?
I don't know. I also want to talk about next week, and I haven't looked into it yet, but the Adnan Syed case from I don't even remember the name of the goddamn podcast. It's one of the most famous ones.
Yeah, it was that big one. What was it called?
I don't fucking know. But it was about Adnan Syed. In the case of Adnan Syed, it's a fascinating case. Technically an unsolved murder case since he's had his conviction at least overturned, or the case is going to be going again. And I know it's fascinating to me. It's a case I've been into for a while. So yeah.
I love some true crime. Maybe I'll bring one too, or maybe I'll bring some kind of like cryptid or something. I don't know. Something fucking stupid.
Something fucked up.
Awesome, man. All right. Got anything to plug? Or are we good?
Oh, so we have our audio podcasts up on iTunes, Amazon, Audible, I think iHeartRadio. All the podcasting thingamajigs is up on the audio podcast. So go check it out. Please review it. Mm-hmm. Leave it lots of raving reviews, please, only because we can't take that kind of criticism. It hurts me. It hurts me to be criticized.
I'm a sensitive boy.
Yeah, I'm a sensitive boy. Definitely not a proud boy. Sensitive boy.
Yeah. I'm proud. I'm not proud of my sensitivity. Check me out in the Invisible Night School. We got the blog and the weekly live stream. Just did one about ghosts. Like I said, I go through the history of it from back. Emanuel Swedenborg meets mesmerism, meets the Fox sisters, and then you got ghost hunters. It's all lined up for you, so it all makes sense. Other than that, I guess I'll just see you next Tuesday.
Yes, you will. All right, brother.
All right,
see you then.